Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. It's Wednesday, May 3rd, 6:30 p.m., and we're in room 27 at Wareham Town Hall. Our regulars may be wondering why I'm sitting in this chair and not the esteemed Bernie Pigeon, and we would like to, tonight, after the roll call, we'll address that issue. But if the clerk could call the roll, please.
We have Jody Smith, Jerry Stefanski, Tom Worthen, myself, and Norma Scott.
So we have a quorum, and we would like to take a minute to congratulate our esteemed former leader, Bernie Pigeon, who was yesterday elected to the Sewer Commission, and who was today sworn in, and therefore is no longer eligible to be a member of the Finance Committee.
So that's what happens to you, you go to, after.
You get sent to the
after we're
sewer commission. And I would like to give Bernie a chance to address the committee, but first I want to say not just congratulations, but thank you so much for your many, many years of service to this committee. And thank you for taking a lot of time helping me to understand how things work and bring me along so that I feel confident taking over this position, at least for the moment. So, Bernie, would you like to say anything?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I credit my win to the people who surround this table and the way we conduct ourselves. They had favorable opinions of how we function and what we did, and I benefit from that at the ballot box. Just an aside, I got more votes than anybody else did, as a matter of fact, because of you. Thank you. Beg your pardon?
The assessors both got more votes than you, though.
Not singularly. Is he allowed to speak?
He's making a false statement, I have to correct him.
He's the fact checker.
There's actually 4 people who got more votes than you.
We'll
but
give
go
you
ahead.
2 minutes for rebuttal afterwards.
You have to squash it immediately.
Oh, my gosh. I'm not gonna miss it. But I want to thank the many years that I've spent doing Finance Committee. It's absolutely a love. I enjoyed the people I had to work with because they were wonderful to work with, and I'm gonna miss all of you. I drop in from time to time, drop over to my bellywork from time to time also. And I might suggest that there is a sewer meeting tomorrow evening in this room, and it's gonna be live. And it's going to be a presentation of some issues regarding swift speech. I think it would be of interest to everyone, and in the televised audience, I would suggest that they take some time to watch that. It's the extraordinary things that are happening. But I want to, again, I'm going to miss you, and thank you very much for your time this evening.
We will miss you as well. Would anybody else like to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank Bernie for the great job he did. Some of you may know I served on a finance committee in another town where it was almost like a full contact sport. There were 16 members, and it could be challenging sometimes. And it's been a total pleasure sitting on this finance committee down here and working with all the people on the finance committee. That we all have our opinions, and we all respect each other. And I think that starts at the gentleman sitting up front and the young lady sitting up front now. I'm sure it's going to continue on, and then I look forward to the upcoming months, years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Bernie, you began chair 6 years ago, and that was the first year that I've been on this committee. So I am what I am today because of you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thank you, Bernie.
Let's not look at that too closely. Thank you, Jerry.
Bernie, I have a list of things I wanted to mention at tonight's meeting, and one of them is that we ought to have a monthly report from the sewer department as how their overall project load is going, so we as a finance committee can see how the money is going and how the capacity is going, and what the problems are in managing the most important facility we got in town.
I agree with Tom. There should be more direct communications between us.
Good.
Bernie, my first position anywhere in any town committee, and it's been a pleasure
I've learned a hell of a lot from you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all your hard work in here and behind the scenes that nobody ever sees. But thank you for everything.
Thank you
Good luck
very
with your
much.
new position.
Can I advocate and stay here?
I'm sure that we are going to see more of you, and we'll look
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yes, and again, thank you very much, all of you. As I say, I won my election, and I am what I am because of you. Thank you.
Alan, do you have anything to add?
No, just remember, he ran unopposed.
We all know that. But we didn't have to vote for him.
Sure.
And some people didn't vote for anybody.
That's right. So a lot of people didn't bother to go to the polls, unfortunately.
A lot of people, like on the selectmen's part, voted for one person only.
Well, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
We need a lot of toilet paper.
Shall we move on to Finance Committee matters, approval of minutes? We have our esteemed former leader passed on to us 3 sets of minutes, March 29th, April 5th, and April 24th, for approval.
I move that we accept the minutes of 3/29/23. Everybody was present.
Is there a
Second.
second? All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move that we accept the minutes of 4/5/23. And everybody that's here tonight was present.
All right, second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I move that we accept the minutes of 4/24/23. And Matt, you missed that meeting.
Second.
That was the one right before town meeting, the first night of town meeting.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So all 3 sets of minutes are approved, 5-0-0.
Last one was 401.
Oh, excuse me, thank you.
401.
401. I know, I'm counting on you all to keep me on track. The next thing we have is the invoice for Kelly doing the minutes for us. This includes all of the minutes completed this calendar year so far.
I excuse me. Yeah, I hate to think I'm losing my voice. I move that we accept the invoice for a total of 14.5 hours for a total of $363. And if somebody wants to check the math on that, please do.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes 5-0-0. All right, and I will note that I think in Kelly's cover on that, on the invoice, she said she had not done minutes for April 12th. We actually ended up canceling that meeting, so we, I believe, are completely caught up on our minutes now. Yay us.
Can we talk about that just for a minute?
Sure.
Is AI gonna come up with a way that they can listen to a meeting and come up with, and have minutes?
I wouldn't doubt it. It's probably just a matter of time.
Because, I mean, we've got them at WCTV if you want to go back and review them. But I think we ought to push to get rid of the delay and the cost and the inefficient way it's done.
Well, I think we have a contract with Kelly through October, but
Well, I mean,
in-
I didn't
in the
mean to
near
get
fu-
into Kelly's contract
Right.
at all, but I think we should try to figure out how to get less minutes with less effort, I guess.
I think it's good to constantly think about ways we can improve our process. All right, so the next item on the agenda is follow-up to annual town meeting and special town meeting, and I just think this is a good time to debrief a little, talk about how people think it went. Anyone interested in speaking up?
I would say I would try to get back to the high school as fast as we can. And I don't understand why it's taken so long on the lights.
Money.
Or whatever, the light was the problem at the high school, was it not? Isn't it a,
Yes.
Lights.
Bernie?
The school committee has care and custody of the buildings. And Al and I met with them a couple weeks ago, I believe. And I brought up the issue that I never see that on their agenda. And considering who is at town meeting primarily, people like you and I, the biggest complaint as far as the elementary school is the chairs are awfully hard. But it's been almost 6 years that we've been complaining about that auditorium. And I was very emphatic with your chairman that I would like to see that on the agenda.
I don't understand why they can't, does that prevent them from using the stage? They're having a show there now?
No.
No, they're still using it.
It's just the
Because,
lights.
but the screen, have it being behind us is not a good idea anyway. But the, the sound was bad. And the fact that you can't see down into the audiences, or you can't see the audience.
Right, there's no lighting. I mean, the same lighting you use to go up the stairs is the same lighting that it just stays on. It's inadequate, totally inadequate. As far as the sound, they project the sound, all the speakers are pointed towards the audience, and we're sitting on the stage, so we're behind the speakers. Because even when we were sitting at the cafetorium with the elementary school, we're on the stage, we're behind the speakers. Because all that equipment that you saw presenting the town meeting is WCTV's. They don't have a sound
I
system.
mean, WCDD did a fine job of you know, it's a one-night performance or a two-night performance,
And I was listening to it,
making the work go.
I happened to tune in to WCTV, and they had the town meeting on. Sound was fine. And I know I'm sitting behind it, you, Tom, you and I both have hearing aids and all, and we just couldn't pick it up.
It was very challenging here, and it might be that a speaker or a couple speakers could be pointed back in our direction, I don't know. But that's, ideally, we would be back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, that's the cafetorium, and they use it for an auditorium, and the sound is just inadequate.
I think there's a better chance of us finally getting the auditorium here at Town Hall. We're supposed to, the roofs are finally down, both. So we can fix the ceiling, put the sound deadening up on the ceiling and wire and go ahead. The problem is we're gonna have to have proper chairs in the auditorium.
How many
The
people?
capacity's over 400 there. Plus they're cleaning out everything on the upper level here, so you also have that as well.
But that's actually not up to us where
No,
town
it's-
meeting happens.
This is all town administrator.
If I could shed some light on the high school auditorium, the reason they're able to do the plays is because WCTV sets up can lights to be able to shoot light onto the stage. But there's nothing that we can do that makes it so the audience has any kind of light at all, so no one can read the agendas for the meetings.
Yep.
So that's specifically why they can't do it in that room.
And I would add, I think everything you guys do is amazing.
We try.
It's really helpful. Anybody else have anything to say about town meeting?
I thought, the only thing, I couldn't have been more wrong. I thought we might get everything done in one night if things moved along smoothly. I could have been more wrong, but I think overall it went well.
Well, and then the next item on the agenda is discussion of the report format. So I guess that's sort of along the same lines. The question being, is there anything we should be doing differently? Because we're spending $16 per, we did this time spend $16 per report, per copy of the report. Mostly to have those go into recycling, or a lot of them never even get picked up.
If I may,
Yes?
the day after I picked up the leftovers, and I couldn't believe it because one of the articles, we had over 220 votes counted. I had ordered printing 225, and I threw away 2 cases. So I threw away 50 reports if there was over 220 people in the seats. Oh, it's, you just don't know.
Yeah, well, a couple may come in and just take one between the two of them, too.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing for us to, we don't have to make any decisions at this point, but one thing to think about is there a way to slim it down at least?
Well, there might be something to do with the exhibits, and there may be too many,
We can give that some thought as we come up to the next, I don't think it'll be as much of an issue for the upcoming special, I don't think. if it's a fairly narrow issue.
We're gonna add some more articles to the special.
Okay, well, then it may be,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I assume that too.
When is the selectmen closing?
Probably a few weeks.
is it,
I think the
I thought it was the 16th, May 16th.
Everybody's going away for a week anyway, so.
Everyone deserves a break, I gotta say. Any other thoughts on that to discuss right now? Okay. So that brings us to the approval for the printing costs of the report. And Bernie is the person who put that on his card. Bernie, how much do we owe you?
I think it's written in there, you got the receipts
Your
in the blue
receipts
folder.
in here. Okay. All right.
3,800 and some odd dollars.
Yeah, I'm seeing, this all seems to be Kelly's. Okay, yeah. So Bernie put out $3,855.41 to print those reports, and we need to pay him back out of our budget. Can I get a motion on that?
I move that we approve the cost of the printing of $3,855.44. Did I get that right?
41 cents.
41 cents.
Is there a second?
I second.
If I might interject, Madam Chairman, our last town meeting, I did 250. There was about the same number of pages, and it was only $11 per.
So the cost has gone up.
Cost has gone way up.
And this was done at Staples?
Cheapest paper, only one staple,
But it
couple
was done,
colored pages.
It was done.
it was printed at Staples?
It was.
Yeah,
Any
we don't
further?
have the capacity here at the building. I'm not sure about that one copier outside the selectman's office. The last time we attempted to use it, which is a couple of years ago, it had failed a couple times in the interim. And I go over Staples and they get 2 days later, it's picked up, it's done.
Any other discussion? All right. I'll take a vote. Do we need to do a roll call on these votes?
You should, you're paying money.
Yeah, this one we're paying money
Okay.
on, so we should.
So we'll take a roll call vote on this motion.
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Norma?
Yes,
Wow, 500.
approved.
Does Upper Cape have a printing department?
They do.
Can ask them too.
Yeah, never thought to do that.
Just gotta give them enough lead time,
But potentially they could do it and
possibly.
on a project basis.
It's worth exploring for sure, yeah. Good thought. All right, the last item I have on the agenda is the schedule for special town meeting. And really, our thought here was just to make sure everyone's aware of the date. It's set for June 12th, Monday, June 12th. It's a little hard to anticipate what kind of meetings we need to have between now and then. We had put as the next meeting date and time, May 17th. I think Tom had a concern about that we'll talk about in just a minute. But we won't have the warrant until then, in any event.
Your warrant closes on the 15th.
Yeah. So it might be that we need to bump that to the 24th. Does that sound like a
Sounds reasonable.
better plan? I know some people are gonna be, a couple of you are gonna be away, I think, at that
I
time.
won't be here now.
Yeah,
I'll be in
and I think
Bermuda.
Julie will also be away, but I think we'll have to at least get started at that
You
point.
could Zoom it for them.
Well, I think we could look into that, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna be able
I'm
to.
not taking,
He's
In the ocean.
I'm not even gonna be in the country.
That's okay, you can, around the world you can do Zoom.
You can, if you have Wi-Fi but it's his
Yeah.
vacation.
The cost of Wi-Fi in a foreign country is just not worth it.
Yeah. I think that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, that's extremely expensive.
I have a niece who was walking through an airport in Bali
Yeah.
with her laptop in front of her at a Zoom meeting. I don't know how that, it's magical.
Better phone plan.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
Better phone plan.
Okay, all right.
You also find some of those terminals,
That's
in
it, yeah,
third
terminals
world
have-
countries are better technologically
Yes.
equipped than we have in our own country.
Airport Wi-Fi is usually free.
right,
as
often,
well.
often in other places.
Yeah,
When you're on a ship, you have to pay for the Wi-Fi.
I'm sure the Chinese would not be too interested in what we had to say.
All right, so I think that's really it for the schedule. As to the meeting time and date of the 17th, Tom sent me a note saying that's the Buzzards Bay Coalition annual meeting night, is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes, yeah.
And you wanted to encourage people to,
Yeah,
Participate.
all I think is the Buzzards Bay Coalition has been very important to this town and very generous with this town, as well as the town generous to it. But it is probably as important an organization in terms of what's happening in the Bay. And it has a very effective executive director. And I think it costs $50 a year or something to join. And I think everybody on this committee should be on it, because it puts out an annual review of what the condition is of the bays. The marshlands, the ocean, does a lot of effective work. And they did the center in Onset, Wickets Island. So they're certainly got Wareham targeted. And they do weekly, or maybe it's even twice a week, testing of the bay water through volunteers. And that facility is over in Marion, where they're doing that, where they have the science part of their organization. It's just a good, important group to us.
well, I think if we bump this meeting to the 24th, which
Yeah.
it sounds like we need to do, that's,
Yeah.
I was
That
just
is-
gonna say that I'm gonna
that's a
mark
good
my
idea.
calendar for the 24th, and
yeah.
subject to change,
Yeah,
I mean, who
and,
knows?
yes, and we'll just have to see what comes through. I think we should expect that we'll have probably at least 3 meetings leading up to special.
All a function of which what the articles are.
Right, exactly.
I'm saying maybe 2.
Well, two absolutely, but maybe one the night of. We may have some
Oh,
things coming
yeah,
at
I
the
wasn't
last,
counting that one,
at the
yeah.
last minute, yeah. So under other business, I think everyone knows that we received Tom Hannon's resignation. That means we have at least 2 spots to fill on this committee, and I really hope everyone is thinking about maybe reaching out to people who they think would be good to invite to apply or encourage to apply for those positions.
Yeah, I think I could do this under unanticipated items. I got a couple of things I wanna bring up, but first, I'd like to make a motion to make Norma the acting chairman until we reorganize. And I say that, and I'm gonna add a little context, because hopefully, I'm saying hopefully, we get some new members shortly. I'm not saying we're gonna, but then, we can reorganize. And the other part is, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, we got people with more experience. The appointing committee is the chair of the finance committee, select board, and the moderator. And I'm assuming as acting chair, Norma could sit in on that. Is that-
Oh, indeed, she's automatically chair by default.
I didn't know if we needed to, moving forward, when they do the appointments, hopefully there are appointments shortly.
The chair of the finance committee is a required member of the nominating committee.
Right.
Alan?
You normally would reconstitute your board on July 1st or later, when anybody who's up for reappointment is done. That's when you would normally do it. So by necessity, the vice chair would step up to be chair until that time frame.
So no motion is
So
required?
it's not needed.
No,
I wasn't sure.
The order of
It was gonna be
succession,
appointing.
yeah, it's all right, it's just how it works, it's by necessity.
Okay.
you also might point out, you have 2 members who are up for reappointment.
That's right,
So there's 4 positions that have to go through the nominating committee.
that's right.
And
And
the
what,
other-
and if I can just pick your brains for a minute, so, right now we have Matt as clerk. Do we, in your opinion, would we just leave the vice clerk position open for the moment? And just
Yes.
leave everything else as it is until we do a more complete
Yes,
reorganization?
there's no succession in terms of clerk to vice chair.
Okay, one other thing, so, on a good note, I did my candidates night last week, and a couple of things came out that I thought was pretty interesting. And I got a couple emails and different things said, is communications. How do we get the word out there to the citizens? They feel like they're, I don't have a real vested interest in what's going on in the town, and I did have a conversation with another politician in town about how do we go about doing this? And I brought it up that night, maybe meeting with some of the different boards, and I know Bernie, and I think the chair of the select board, met with the council on aging, and maybe some other places, you know, and I think that's a great thing. And and I'd like to move forward, I'd like to see, and I'm not saying any one of us, but maybe take turns trying to, there's a lot of groups, the different beach areas and stuff that meet and stuff. You guys might be more aware of them, you know, Briarwood down that area, Swift's Beach, obviously. You know, maybe sit in and kind of let them know if they got questions and stuff. You know, just something to think. Summer's coming. I don't want to do anything going into the summer, but I think, you know, and I think this is true with other boards, and I think Bernie's kind of on the same page with the sewer commission. There's a lot going on there. And obviously, with a lot going on there, there's gonna be a lot going on here money-wise. You know, and kind of explain our positions for better or for worse. But I think
that that's a really
something,
great
you know, we
point.
can take turns. And, you know, I'm gonna pick on Tom, sitting down that area towards, is there a group down there? I don't know. You know, down by where you guys are on the water, you know, usually that's where you find these little groups.
We do have an association.
You do have an association.
Small sort of informal association.
Yeah, and you know, it'll be an informal meeting. I mean, you go
Right.
and have a cup of coffee with them, and you know, why are you guys doing this or not doing that? And if you don't have the answer, and which is a good chance you may not, you'll get it to them. You know, just kind of follow up with things. But I think, you know, I'd like to see other boards also. I'm not just talking the finance committee, but that seems to be a
Well, I mean, we can remind,
big thing.
we can remind everyone that there is an email on the website that they can send questions to, that
That's
we
true.
should be checking and replying to, so that they have, if you're a regular citizen, or come to a meeting and ask your questions.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, remind everyone that we welcome their feedback.
And unfortunately, though, in this day and age, I don't know how to say this nicely, but sometimes you gotta go to them. You know, it's, you know, you just, I don't even know what the final percentage was on the voting for.
Very, very low.
Yeah.
I
You know,
would say
uh,
it's probably worth having a broader conversation, including with the chair, at least the chair of the select board and some of the
Yeah,
other
I'm just-
committee people about, maybe being very purposeful about what you're talking about, the kind of communication you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up now. Like I said, summer's coming and vacations are coming, you know, I'm sure what other association you belong to, they don't want to be bothered when they go out and go to the beach, you know, and I get it, you know, but I just think come fall, September, you know, we start gearing up for the fall town meeting, and then, you know, you got one in the spring. I just think,
Yeah, but a lot of these committees are very active during the summer. I mean, Swiss Beach Association with the summer residents, that they've gotta be jamming over there
Yeah.
during the summer. Same thing with a lot of the winter neighborhoods,
yeah,
summer neighborhoods.
Alan?
You need to be extremely careful, because open meeting law, also, if one of you go to a meeting, you're representing the finance committee, and you may have your own opinions, and what you put forth may not be what the committee would vote for.
That's right.
It can cause a lot of serious issues. You're much better off, if you want, is to invite the representatives for a particular, like Swiss Beach, Pinehurst, whatever, they all have beach associations, and have them come to one of your formal meetings and ask questions and give them answers, or get back to them. Going the other way is usually a recipe
It's very true.
for disaster.
You could even,
and I
go the
understand
other
what you're
direction,
saying.
have your meeting at their facility.
The whole committee.
Yes.
You have to post the meeting.
Right.
Right.
You have to be very careful.
And it would have to be open to everybody.
Yes.
And
No, I understand what Alan's saying, but I'm just opening up for down the road. I'm not, that's just saying, I'm looking after summertime, and
We've talked about it before. The selectmen
Yeah.
went out some years back, and we went to on some 2 or 3 different places where we actually had a meeting there. as well.
How was it received?
Fair.
Now, it's hard to do though if it's gonna be recorded.
Right.
I would say, yeah, if you have any off-site meetings, please give us plenty of heads up, please.
Oh, we're having one tomorrow.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we stretch WCTV's assets.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes, definitely.
There are probably other ways to communicate too, that,
I'm sure there are, I'm just
that
trying
don't
to.
have, put you in that
Well,
position.
that's why I was, reminding them that, come to our meetings,
Yeah.
come ask us questions. Send us an email if you don't wanna come to the meeting, and
Right,
we can answer it, either through the
Potentially.
email or live here. But we do have forms of communication that we can use in the interim, that we just need to remind people are available. Because when's the last time an email came through for a citizen?
I have no idea.
We'll
yeah,
answer
we
the
need-
questions
we
if
need to
they
find
send
out
us
how
the
to-
question.
I probably need to know how to get access to that
The
email.
man will set you up with a password.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said, I'm putting it out there, communications, and that was brought up that night, and, more to do with the sewer commission and everything going on there, but I think it kinda,
It
Yeah.
follows through to everyone, yes.
it falls, but how do we get it out there? And if I had the answer to that,
Well, the difficulty is there are so many vehicles to communicate nowadays.
Yes.
You never know which one this particular group is on primarily. And that's one thing, if you, like, as you, just as an example, if you contacted the person in charge there and found out what vehicle they use primarily to communicate with their association, then you can get onto that or make your posting on that line if you're doing a Swift Beach area.
Wareham Week is a very important asset. And it sounds like they're having a tough time. But you can look at them every morning and get up-to-date news. You want to encourage them to have reporters at every meeting. And we ought to be able to get every department feed them information that is for broader base digestion. The town of Plymouth does not have a newspaper. They don't have anybody that covers their department meetings. And they're realizing how serious that leaves them. The newspaper's folded. They've got one guy there apparently, and he goes nowhere. And they're actually, citizens are gathering money so that they can underwrite a up-to-date communications vehicle between the town committees and the town. But they're realizing how serious it is and how much it hurts them. But if you look at this, at the daily from Wareham Week, there's an opportunity to contribute $50 or whatever to help them get along. They only have 2 people, and they no longer, I don't think, are maintaining an office because these people are living at home. So,
No, they're still over,
pardon me?
they're still over.
They're still over Main Street? Okay. But it's not an easy thing to get across. And there are a lot of people who, every Thursday, get to go pick up the Wareham Week. So it gets some response, it gets response.
yeah. They
And that
count on
also means
advertising,
supporting their advertisers.
yeah, they count on advertising,
Pardon me?
They count on advertising, supporting their, and you're right, I look at it in the morning, and they're pretty good about getting stuff up in a very timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, if it bleeds, it leads, unfortunately, most of it, but,
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they can't be at every meeting, or,
no.
having them write about tonight's meeting I don't think anybody's really. We might breeze through it, but.
Also, just another thing for WCTV, if you have something important that you want to put out there, you can send Renee an email and we can put up a bulletin board on the channel. Doesn't cost anything.
Good to know.
That might actually be really helpful.
Yep.
we have people all the time with like events and things of that nature, where they're like, hey, we wanna put up a bulletin, alright, send us an email, has all the contact info and like where it is. We can post that kind of stuff, we just can't do advertisements, so we can't do like, hey, best hot dog in town at this price, like, we can't do that kind of stuff.
Here are the hot dogs in town, right here.
You can also contact Matt Underhill at any time and ask something put up on the town website, which has a calendar. So most people don't take advantage. We used to always announce events in town at a selectmen's meeting every week, and it's getting harder and harder for people to contact us. It's free, happy to do it, but I'm not sure why it's so hard. You know, communication is
right, yeah.
wonderful, but people, it's a two-way street.
When you say they're hot contacting you, what do you mean by that? I'm just curious.
All they have to do is send us an email,
Right.
let us know. We announce it, no problem. It's easy. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Sometimes it's a matter of finding the address.
The email address.
Yes.
The library's getting good coverage.
Yeah, I said email addresses are pretty easy to,
Yeah,
But I mean, if you wanna communicate with Alan, I would say the first thing you're gonna look for is his email address versus the town page for selectmen.
He's really good at answering his email.
well, my phone number is my personal cell phone number, so there's no reason they can't get a hold of me, period.
yeah, it's very, when you say 4%, I mean, I thought it'd be higher than that, not, I was guessing 5.5 to 6.5. But 4%, you know, in town meeting, you know,
It's embarrassing.
Christie's the one that I
I'm
haven't
not
turned out.
disputing it, I think it's all absolutely awful, but I voted about 9:30 in the morning, I think I was number 8 or something like that, no, I was number 4, yeah, it was a low number, it was low teens, I'm saying,
I was
that's
30
it?
I was 34, and normally precinct 3 is our largest precinct vote-wise. It was way, way off.
At 9 o'clock, I was 17.
I was 168.
That's because you get up late.
I'm not even sure what number I was, I didn't pay
I
attention.
didn't either.
Right.
I knew it was very quiet when we were
They,
over there.
Yeah.
they looked surprised when I walked in the door at precinct 5.
You make too much noise, you'd wake up the friendly policeman.
What's that?
If you make too much noise, you'd wake up a friendly policeman.
I didn't wake him up, but I did shock him.
Yeah, that would be difficult, sitting there for hours like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I've worked the polls, it's tough on these local elections, the presidential election keeps you hopping.
Yeah.
The local ones are every bit as important.
They are.
Do we
just as
have a
important.
count on how many people actually went out? I know what the numbers showed on, per candidate, but overall.
I believe we're somewhere between 530 and 580 is actual people. Because the 1,400, it's not 1,400 people voted.
Right.
It's 1,400 votes, which means for selectmen there's 2.
Right, right.
So if you look at the numbers, say Bertie got 540 votes, he is unopposed. So that means there's only
That's-
500 some people.
Landslide Bernie.
That's right.
I mean, nobody gets 600, I think the highest number was 548.
Yeah, it was,
Or somewhere in there.
that was the highest, I believe, yeah. That was Tricia.
Like I say, it's, unfortunately, there's a lot of countries that made the comment before, you can't vote at all. And voting is a privilege, and I don't understand why people don't vote.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's not debatable. All in favor?
All right.
Wait a minute, guys.
That's the agenda.
I talked about the Buzzards Bay Coalition, I talked about Wareham Week. I think we have an interest in seeing
We
the
don't-
budget
we're not that
performance
far away.
quarterly, must happen. The sewer monthly. Idle assets, like Parkle Mills and the Deacon's property. We ought to know about that every bi-monthly. We ought to have a list
Tom,
of things to get reported to.
would you put that in writing for me, and we'll talk about it at the next meeting?
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
That was unanimous, right?
Yes.
Well, no, actually, Tom. So